Let's run. What a run. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook up great football players, showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday night DFS Advisor. We got a pretty decent show for you tonight. Want to start off by thanking our sponsors, like always. Premier Properties, Steve and Nikki, thanks for everything you do. Norm over at Freaky Tiki, thank you. Also want to thank Tailgater Deluxe, our charity. And everything that you guys are doing for us. J.R. Lewis, I know, J.R., you're performing tonight down there in Hudson, getting ready to head back up to Nashville. So if you guys are down in the Hudson area, look J.R. up. He's playing down there on the water. And want to send a shout out to Scott Farrell, good friend of mine. He's over here at Profitable TV, him and the Prophet, giving you guys some of the best, betting advice you can get, especially with basketball and hockey. Them guys are killing it. Scotty, I want to send our prayers out to you. I know you lost your dog that's been fighting cancer today. So our hearts go out to you, but at least the dog's not suffering anymore. But seriously, guys, these guys got a great app. They really put out, it's a little pricey. Their app's a little pricey here and there. I mean, they do have some budget stuff, but you're not going to get picks anywhere out there like these guys are doing. I mean, they are just crushing it. The Prophet is unbelievable. Scotty's unbelievable with basketball and hockey, and they're making money for all their guys that are taking their betting advice. So look them guys up online, and I think they got a 3-day trial going on right now, so feel free to look them up. And then tonight, little news going on tonight in the racing world. We got qualifying down here in Daytona. They're qualifying tonight at 8:15. So if you want to get your show on over there at the NASCAR stuff, it's happening tonight. So qualifying, they'll set the top two front row, and you can get the order for the qualifiers later on in the week. And then Sunday's the big day. Obviously, I don't know if Mother Nature is going to call for a little bit of rain. We'll see what happens with that. But so anyways, there's a schedule of what's going on. You got Wednesday tonight. You got the qualifying duels. And then Thursday, you got the duels starting at 7:30. Friday, looks like you've got the Xfinity stuff going, or the trucks going on, and then Xfinity on Saturday, and then the Daytona 500 at 2:30 on Fox. So if you guys are into racing, you're in the Daytona area, that's happening down here. Weather's been good lately. It's been sunshiny, kind of getting over that cold spell that we had. So anyways, that's happening down here in the Sunshine State. So it's back to racing again. No more football. Speaking of football, how'd you guys do, with the Super Bowl? How'd you like it? Did you think it was a good game? I thought it was a little underwhelming. I kind of got what I expected with the Seahawks. I really thought JSN would have had a little bit better game than he did. I won a little money on the spread they covered, on the 4.5. So I kind of did good there, but some of my parlay stuff was lost. I mean, it just was crazy. It was a little underwhelming. Although Walker, the MVP, the running back from my hometown up where he went to college, Michigan State University, winning the MVP, great for Walker. We're going to talk a little bit about him a little later when we talk about free agency and stuff going on. But he had a good game and deservedly so won the MVP. So this guy here's making the news. I mean, he kind of been stealing the headlines every day, it seems like, on what Crosby's going to do. We've been talking about him a little bit. He's definitely announced he does not want to play for the Raiders. So we'll see what happens. It's going to take a pretty healthy checkbook and some picks to get this guy on your roster. But, wouldn't everybody like to have him right now? He's recovering from surgery that he just had. I was listening to an interview he did the other day. I didn't realize he's had so many surgeries. It's amazing how these football players got to go in and clean things up surgically and everything. But he's saying he'll be ready to go. We'll see where he ends up. It's going to be a fun free agency / guys that don't want to play for teams between him and A.J. Brown. Guys saying they're just not going to play here, not going to play there. We'll see how it goes. We've got the coaching carousels all wrapped up. All the NFL teams are filled. All the coaching staffs are still, offensive, defensive coordinators are starting to shape up pretty good. Like we talked a little bit about for fantasy football, guys, make sure you know some of these schemes and some of these changes these teams are making, what their tendencies are for coaching, So when you get to picking, there's going to be a lot of movement with players. So, you need to really stay in tune with that and find out where these guys are playing and what they're doing. So anyways, we're going to move on into this real quick. I kind of thought this was unique. It's like this guy's got like 9 lives. Justin Verlander, he once was with Detroit. I think this guy's like, 3-time Cy Young. This guy is just unbelievable pitcher, but he's getting some age on him. But Detroit brought him back for this year. Exciting for the Detroit Tigers fans to get some more pitching. So congratulations, Justin, coming back home to Detroit. So that was in the news this week. Free agency, guys. Free agency is getting ready to kick off. And, man, you're going to have 3 notebooks, a tape recorder, and 2 phones. Got the hiccups again. To keep up with this free agency this year in 2026. It's going to be action-packed. Some big names, a lot of tight ends are in free agency, a lot of big name wide receivers, some so-so running backs, a couple good ones, a little bit of quarterback stuff. Most of them are backups. Some of these teams, what are they going to do? Where's Tua going to end up? Is he going to stay in Miami? Is Deshaun Watson going to get a shot at the starting job this year? There's a lot of movement that's going to take place. We're going to talk about a few of them tonight. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk a lot about free agency before we start moving into the combine and the rookie draft, mock drafts and stuff like that. But the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about free agency a lot and see where some of these names end up. But, just on the tight end list, I just jotted some down. You got Goddard, you got Otten, you got Andrews, Kelsey, Pitts. There's a whole list more tight ends. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Deebo Samuel, Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants, Dobbs from Green Bay, Juan Jennings from the 49ers. That's a unique one, especially in fantasy. I don't know what to think about the Jennings deal. He's kind of been banged up, but he's kind of really all the 49ers got with Ayuk out now of the picture, Deebo gone. Juan Jennings is an interesting pick for fantasy. John Lynch said this week that he definitely wants to retain the guy, but I don't know. I think he kind of wants to move on and get out of that situation, but maybe not if he's going to, be the number one. He might be able to make some money. So, and then, Super Bowl winner Shaheed, he's going to be available, but I don't think Seattle lets him go anywhere. They just picked him up. Obviously, he had a good Super Bowl. I think he'll be there. On the running back side, Breece Hall, running back from the Jets, he's up free agency. Ken Walker, the MVP from the Seahawks, I don't see him going anywhere. They'll definitely retain him. One of the unique ones that I thought is kind of interesting is, Algier from Atlanta, the backup to Robinson. I mean, this guy stole and continues to steal a lot of carries from Robinson. This guy deserves a starting position. I think he's a starting running back in the NFL, especially, down inside the 20 goal line. I'm kind of getting a gut feeling, with the coaching change the Bucs made picking up their OC from Atlanta. And Rachaad White is also free agency this year. I would look for maybe Algier to follow his OC. I think there might be a little bit of, leverage there between the OC getting this guy to come to Tampa. Tucker's even a free agent. I don't see Tucker going anywhere. But this would be a good addition to the Bucs backfield for Algier to come to the Bucs. Some more running backs. Najee Harris is coming off his injury. He's going to be free agent. Rico Dowdle at the Panthers, he's free agent. Javonte Williams, Dallas, free agent. And another really interesting one, again, I don't really see him going anywhere, but Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne, he kind of fell off there, when he first came into the league. Trevor Lawrence loves this kid. He had a lot to do with getting him into Jacksonville. And now with Liam Cohen at the helm, Travis had a pretty good year this year. I don't look for him to get out of there. But you never know with the way money flies around in the NFL. This is another guy to watch. I definitely think, Hall is going to be done at the Jets, which really opens it up for Allen. Allen was injured. I think Allen could be the bell cow there. We'll see. But I definitely think Bryce Hall's out of the Jets. So kind of monitor where he goes. And we talked a little bit about Rachaad White. He's definitely not going to be back at the Bucs. I look for him to end up in Washington with the Commanders is kind of where I've pegged him to go. But this Algier one, man, is really intriguing to me. I would really, really like to see Algier make some noise as a starter. I think he could be at least minimum early down back in the NFL as a starter. So we'll see what happens with him. This one here is a big deal down here in Tampa. Everybody thought that Mike would definitely retire as a Buck, but there has been a lot of waves. I mean, a lot of little rumor this, rumor that with Evans, and it's starting to really kind of get some traction in the media. It's starting to get some traction here in Tampa Bay. I don't think Mike's going to retire. I think he's still got another year in him. I think he wants to play his 13th year. I think he wants to play in Tampa, but I also think, I don't think if Mike was to leave Tampa Bay, I don't think it hurts his legacy at all. I really don't. I know his family likes Tampa. He loves Tampa. He's got a great relationship with the Bucs. He's got a great relationship, with the wide receiver room. He's a leader in the locker room. If Jason Light lets this guy get away, it'll only be because it's what Mike truly wants to do. If it's a money thing, I don't think it's going to be a problem. You got Godwin there, you got Mbuka there, you got McMillan there. Another free agent. We'll talk a little bit more about tight ends, but Otten's a free agent this year too. So we'll see what happens. But, for Mike to leave, I think it would be a surprise to a lot of people. But there, like I said, there's a lot of real strong rumblings that he's going to leave. And in my heart, I don't want him to. I want the best for Mike. I hope he stays. I think he could have a killer year if the guy can stay healthy. It's really unfortunate that he didn't get that 1,000-yard season to make it consecutive. But I think he's healthy right now. I think, he can get back full step with Bake. And I think they could have a good season together if he does decide to stay. So this is another one to really watch in your drafts. Does he retire? I don't think so. So I don't think you have to worry about that like you do with, Kelsey. Is Kelsey going to stay as a tight end for Kansas City or not? This one here made the news. Now, this was kind of just surprising to see him walk away, but I think Njoku is 9 years in the league now. I think he had his best year in 2023. He's kind of slacked off. Another one that has been injury plagued at the tight end position. He announced this week that he's not going to return to Cleveland. So this guy's going to be on the market too. Now, where he falls, there's a couple good landing spots, I think, for him. He very well, if Atlanta moves Pitts early on and trades him, or Pitts gets the deal and takes it and leaves Atlanta, this guy likes Kevin Stefanski, so wouldn't surprise me to see him be in Atlanta. I think another good landing spot would be for him to end up at the 49ers and, step in for Kittle till Kittle is healthy. Miami's another spot with the Dolphins. I think they're really hurting at tight end, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up down there. So this is another unique one to watch. I enjoy drafting guys in my fantasy leagues that are in free agency. It kind of makes it exciting to see where they're going to go. I kind of like to, me and my Jimbo's hot takes, I kind of like to predict stuff. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. You can take it or you can leave it. But we do it for fun, and I enjoy it. But we'll see where he ends up. Another running back that is not a free agent. He's locked up for this year. Is Montgomery for the Lions. But he's another one kind of like Algier, to where I really think Montgomery wants to get back and get somewhere where he can be the lead back. So, there's some rumblings and talk about Montgomery leaving Detroit now that Gibbs is, taking over that backfield. So that's another one to kind of keep your eye on and see where he ends up. There's a whole list more of guys on there. I think Dobbins at Denver is going to be a free agent. Back to the wide receivers, you got George Pickens, Deebo Samuel. We talked a little bit about Dobbs. I think George Pickens is probably going to get talked into getting franchise tag. However, there was a Super Bowl Radio Row interview with CeeDee Lamb where, he even went as far to say he'd give up some of his salary to try to retain Pickens. I think he really likes Pickens. I think the Dallas Cowboys like the Pickens. Javonte Williams is free agent down there in Dallas too. So it'll be interesting to see how free agency wraps up. And, we get into some of that. And, we got all these picks and, here's how the draft order for 2026 for your NFL teams is wrapping up. The Raiders obviously, are talking Mendoza. I think that's kind of a lock. There's the Jets are just a dumpster fire, and who knows what they're going to do at the number 2. I wouldn't be surprised to see him trade off it and gain more picks and move down and try to get more picks. The Cardinals, they kind of are in a weird spot. They're really hurting at running back. I think they got a quarterback issue that is going to start unfolding with Murray, and see where Kyler Murray ends up, whether they move off of him or the new coaches decide they want to keep him. But I definitely, Benson and Connor back there. Connor's getting old, coming off the foot injury. Is he going to be healthy enough? Benson was banged up, didn't play much. They really are hurting at running back. I would not be a bit surprised if Love is still there, for them to take Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back. But, everybody's got New Orleans pegged to be getting Jeremiah Love. Tennessee now, with all the coaching changes there, they're pretty set with their, franchise quarterback. They got a decent tandem running back. They're really hurting on the offensive line. They gotta get Cam Ward some protection. They did pretty good last year in the draft with Helm at tight end. So I'd really look for them to go offense, line in the draft. The Giants, who knows what the Giants do? They're unpredictable. They got neighbors. They got their franchise quarterback with Dart. They got, John Harbaugh in their coaching. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see these guys go defense, but we'll see what happens. And the Browns, again, they're unpredictable. I wouldn't be surprised to see them add another quarterback. Who knows? I think their running back situation is good from a fantasy standpoint going forward. Tight end's great at fanning. They got, Garrett on defense. Probably wouldn't hurt them to, look at safety or DB. And Washington, I don't know. It's another rebuild type situation. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they can kind of fix their running back issues in free agency, obviously. Draft-wise, maybe you see them go tight end. I don't think Ertz is in for the long haul. He was injured pretty good with the ACLs. Now, who knows how quick he's coming back. We'll see what happens there. I don't think Sanat's the answer there. And, of course, they got, offensive coordinator changes too. So New Orleans, Shook kind of did good down there at the end of the season. They lost Shaheed as a wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take Tate wide receiver here. Or, if Love's still there, they definitely need to shore up the running back situation. They got some good young running backs. They just didn't really produce, and I don't think Kamara's in for the long haul. So we'll see. Kansas City, they definitely got to get their offensive line in order there. They're going to have to maybe think about tight end there. Does Sadiq end up there as tight end? I don't know. Does Kelsey come back? We'll see. And then the Bengals, another dumpster fire. They definitely got to get their defense in line. So I would look for them to edge rusher, because I definitely think Hendrickson is going to be gone. So I think the Bengals go defense. As far as the Dolphins go, they definitely got a quarterback issue. Is Ewers the answer? Achan's definitely a lock at running back. They definitely are hurting at tight end. It's another place that, with all these tight ends, I think, Miami's draft, they could be pretty wide open with what they do, because I think they could do a lot in free agency. They got an interesting problem on their hands, though, between Tua's money and Tyreek Hill's money. They got to make a decision on Tyreek Hill here real quick in March, because he's due to get paid. And if they, I think they're going to release Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek Hill going to be ready? I know every time he's, in those later rounds of your draft, you're going to be saying, man, I'm going to take Tyreek. I don't know. This guy's got some legal issues. He's got woman problems. Where's he end up? Is he going to play this year? He's 32. I don't know. I think he'll fall tremendously in fantasy drafts. And then you got Dallas Cowboys sitting there. I think they're solid all the way around. Tight end, they're looking good. You know how Jerry drafts. I would look for them to go defense. after getting rid of Parsons, and I think they need help in the backside on the defense, cornerback, safety. So we'll see what the Cowboys do. Jerry always throws some fun things into the draft. I've been hearing some talk that LA, the Rams, will be looking for a wide receiver. I don't know. Does Lemon make it that far down there? Who knows? Lemon's kind of fits right into that McVay type, stuff. So we'll see what the Rams do. They definitely need a little bit of help on the offensive line too. They need some help on the DB side, on the defense. And then you got the Ravens sitting there. I don't know what the Ravens are going to do. I don't know that much about Minner as a coach. I would, Andrews is a free agent. Likely, do they go tight end? Do they, they've always kind of drafted on the defensive side of things. Henry's getting up there in age. Maybe they look to try to shore up their running back situation. And then the Bucks. You got the Bucks down there. The Bucks got to go defense. I don't care what Jason Light does, but he has got to go get a beast at defensive end. They got to do something. Levante David, I don't think's in it for very much longer, if any. If they keep him, it'll be mainly just a Todd Bowles cheerleader in the locker room with that relationship. But the Bucks have to go defense. I don't care if it's got to be on the line though. And then the Jets are another first-round pick there. So do they get rid of that second round and say they're good down there at 16? Probably. What do the Lions do? The Lions, I definitely think the Lions need to get a quarterback in their draft this year and see what they can start doing to farm up their quarterback position for later. Defensive line, they're looking good. They're looking good on the backside on defense. I don't think there's, much, maybe offensive line, but we'll see where they end up. The Vikings are another dumpster fire. I definitely think they need to get another quarterback in the room in there. There's talk of Hawkinson being moved. So we'll see where they end up. They're pretty average on their defense, but not bad. And then the Panthers are sitting there. The Panthers made a pretty good splash in wide receiver. They got some decent young tight ends. What do they do? Maybe shore up their linebackers a little bit, get the middle of the football field looking a little bit better on defense, get a good edge rusher. The Steelers, I don't know with McCarthy what they're going to do. They definitely are going to have a quarterback issue. I think Howard may get an opportunity to compete for a quarterback there. Is Rodgers coming back? Who knows? I'm sure we're going to have some more offseason drama with that. The Chargers, this is another good landing spot for Njoku in free agency for tight end to get alongside a Goodson out there, the young rookie tight end that they got. Going to be interesting to see what McDaniels does down there as a coordinator. I would look for their offense to step up a little bit. Does Najee Harris leave? Does Hampton take over and really become a true number one? Is Vidal going to stick around? I think he does. So I think they're in pretty good shape on the running back side. I think they may also lose their linebacker. I think he's up for free agency too. So there's the Eagles are next. The Eagles, if they do get off of A.J. Brown, they're definitely going to have to do something in the wide receiver room. Goddard is a free agent. All three of their tight ends are free agents this year. The backup to the backup, even all the way down to Granson, he's a free agent. Goddard and the main backup, I can't pronounce his name, the one with the crazy long C name. But so, and they did some facelifting out there with their offensive coordinator too. So we'll see what Mannion does. He says he's going to run a lot of motion, do a lot of things. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go wide receiver. And then there's the Browns again, another, crapshoot. And then you got the Bears. I think the Bears are looking good all the way around. Williams came around. I think they need to do and get some help on defense. I would look for that pick there to be a defensive player. And then our other dumpster fire that we talk about a lot up there in Buffalo, I'll say it like I've always said it, until they get a true number one wide receiver, they are not going to win a Super Bowl. So they need to decide whether Shakir's going to, foot the bill. I doubt he's a true number one. Coleman is another train wreck, discipline problems. We'll see. Josh Allen kind of said some good things after the McDermott firing that, he supports Coleman and, that they believe in him and they're going to whip him into shape. So we'll see if Coleman can get on the same page. I know Kincaid is off and on. He's injury. I think he got away with not having to get off-season knee surgery, but I think they may move off of Knox as the backup tight end. I've heard talks that he's getting ready to walk out of there. They're going to let him go. And then San Francisco, they need defensive help. Defense. They need some wide receivers. So we'll see where they end up in the draft. Another thing while we're talking about San Francisco in your fantasy drafts, I think a unique pickup at quarterback, as much as Lynch has said that he's not going to get rid of his backup quarterback, and as much backup as he did for Purdy, I don't really think they can afford to move off their backup quarterback. But that backup quarterback out there could be a sneaky play to maybe end up at Minnesota. It'd be interesting to see. And then you got the Texans definitely got to get their offensive line in shape. I definitely see them going offense. With Woody Marks picked up last year, I think they're okay running back wise for now. You got Schultz returning. I know he was injured at the end of the year, but Schultz is a top, 12 tight end. I would definitely think they definitely have to go O-line with their first pick. And then you got the Rams there again with another first rounder. So the Rams have some options. And then you got the Broncos sitting there. What do the Broncos do? They had a pretty good draft last year. I think they need a tight end. I don't think the tight end situation went. Oh, another big announcement today was with Webb. They're going to let Webb call the offensive plays next year. Sean Payton came right out and said that Webb will call the plays. Now, I don't know if I believe that. I don't think Sean Payton has ever not called the plays for the offense. So that would be an interesting move to let a brand new offensive coordinator call the plays. Now, Webb's got experience offensive coordinator wise, but not under Sean Payton calling plays. So that's going to be an interesting thing there. If Dobbins leaves, we'll see if the kid from UCF, if Harvey can step up and become a true number one there. I think they're pretty solid with their receivers. Tight end, I think, is something that they need to look at. Their defense is awesome. And now we're getting down to the two Super Bowl guys, the Patriots. I think the Patriots definitely need to address the offensive line. I think they need to get a little bit, stronger in the middle with their defense. That Gonzalez kid at corner, man, he had an awesome Super Bowl. He played his heart out. That kid can play football. So be interesting to see what they do. Hunter Henry's getting up there in age. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make some moves in tight end. There's been some talk this week, too, that maybe A.J. Brown could end up here as a wide receiver. But, Vrabel must be up for the drama with his receivers between Diggs and they get Brown. who knows? Seattle. I think Seattle as an overall team is pretty solid. I think, their defense is clicking. Darnold definitely is going to lose some of the doubters going into 2026. We'll see what they do. They got a great backup quarterback with Milroe. So we'll see, does Kupp stay? Does Kupp retire? I've heard rumors that Kupp wants to become a wide receivers coach. So I don't know. Now that they got Shaheed, JSN, I think they're looking good there. They got Barner. They got Arrow. They're looking pretty good all the way around. Maybe they get Darnold some more help on the O-line would probably be my guess for that. So that's just a quick rundown of what I think with those picks and what these teams need. So definitely take a look at some of this movement in free agency. Get ready for your vet drafts. I know a lot of guys are getting eager to already draft. I've had some guys really banging on me. We got our dynasty draft going on right now with the vets in one of our leagues. So that's a startup. That's going to be fun, getting that in line. And so the fun's getting ready to begin. And like I said, we're going to be talking a lot about free agency. And as these guys, quarterback-wise too, I think we didn't talk too much about them real quick. But Malik Willis, I think, is an intriguing move out of Green Bay. I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up in Green Bay. Daniel Jones is coming off the injury at the Colts. I don't think the Colts let him go. I think he'll stay there. Does Leonard get a chance to compete for that job? And then you got good old Russell Wilson. I definitely think the Giants will move on from that. Russell Wilson could maybe fill some holes here or there. We'll see what happens. And, what happens with Geno Smith. There's a lot of things going on in the quarterback world in the NFL, so that'll be interesting. So that's just a quick little breakdown tonight, guys. Not a real, action-packed show, but there sure is a lot going on. So stay tuned to it and get in them drafts. And like I always tell you guys, be careful with your collective leagues. There's a lot of guys taking rakes off these leagues, so be sure if you get involved in a collective league, that it's the right collective league. Vet your commissioners, get in the chat rooms, start talking to your commissioners, carry on some conversations before you start giving people your money, and seek it out. And I hope everybody has a great off season. Take your time getting into your drafts. It's a long season, and start to get your Devy guys in line. A lot of your Devy leagues, your players are going to be hitting your sleeper boards. Commissioners are going to be taking them off the spreadsheets and putting them into your lineups. So be aware of that for your rosters, so you can make space for those Devy players that you've been waiting to get to the NFL. I know I'm excited for a couple of the ones that are going to be hitting mine. And so got to restructure and make room for them, get rid of the old and in with the new. So with all that said, you guys have a great night. Have a great weekend. Don't forget about the Daytona 500, and y'all have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you on the Saturday night show at 7 p.m. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Peace. Jimbo's out.